I have a prediction that marriages without kids are happier than marriages with kids. Now, studies have been done. Kids for sure diminish your overall life satisfaction.
Our degenerate culture is now telling us you'll have no kids and you'll be happy about it. Welcome back to the JP Reacts channel, my beautiful freedom-loving friend, where we like to call out the lies, hypocrisy, and corruption of tyrants and Satan, shine the light of awareness on woke absurdities, and highlight the amazing work of other freedom fighters. There is a growing popularity amongst pop culture that's infected with something that the path to happiness is having no kids. The most fulfilling, loving thing you can do, that's not going to make you happy. It'll interfere with your ability to go get caramel mocha lattes at Starbucks and your ability to make money. And we know those things can definitely make you happy, but love and human connection, that can't make you happy. So no kids for you is our sincerest recommendation. That almost sounds like it comes from Satan. It wants to stop human life from breeding and stop loving connections. That's weird. With that said, I recently came across a clip from a guy who I really respect, Tom Bilyeu. He's the founder of Quest Nutrition. He later sold that for megabucks. And you can see Tom's Instagram bio here. 2 million followers. He's got his Impact Theory podcast, which is all about self-growth. I really respect him and a lot of material. But on a recent podcast, I think it was the Iced Coffee podcast, he had some rather shocking views about having kids, better said, not having kids so you can be happy, which I very much disagree with. I'll share my experience along the way. But first, let's take a look at what a self-growth dude, Tom Bilyeu, had to say about having kids. Which, by the way, the comments, which we're going to take a look at after the video, are rather unsupportive of Tom's view. They're pretty hilarious and maybe accurate. Let's take a look.
I have a prediction that marriages without kids are happier than marriages with kids. Now, studies have been done. Kids for sure diminish your overall life satisfaction.
Wow, those sound like World Economic Forum studies. Studies show that having kids diminish your overall life satisfaction. Now, context, Tom does not have kids. So his reference point is he probably loves his life. He's got megabucks. He does whatever he wants. He's also fulfilling a purpose. He helps other people. He gets good positive messages out there. So I don't blame him for saying, my life is good. My life might be different, and therefore it might be worse if I had kids. But I can tell you from my experience, having my beautiful son, by far the most satisfying thing I've ever done in life. And you know what? The work that I do, the work that I was doing before I had a kid, so fulfilling. I was kind of like in Tom's position. I had a very happy life before I had a child. A pretty satisfied life. But guess what? My life satisfaction and happiness only escalated. Before we see the rest of Tom's clip, I'll tell you this. I think it's easy for a person who has a happy life to theorize, well, I'm happy now, therefore when I have kids, I might be less happy. Here's why I think they think that. Because I thought it. It's because our minds can measure what we'll lose. Our minds can't measure what we're going to gain. Our minds can measure what we'll lose, but they can't measure what we're going to gain. You look at all the free time you have, we can travel whenever we want, do whatever. My life is all about me. Cool. Like there's a lot of that you will lose when you have a kid, especially if you're a good parent attending to your child and not just outsourcing it to someone else. You will lose things. Therefore, the mind can just automatically say, well, I'm going to be less happy because I'm looking at all these things that I like that make me happy. I'll lose them. But our minds aren't measuring the unknown that is yet to be experienced by us. My experience of that unknown, now that it's become known, far more satisfying than prior to having a child. Let's hear more from Tom.
It might come back like when you're in your 60s, but from like the time you have your kid until after all of them have left the house for a significant period of time, it diminishes your overall sense of well-being. So
I don't believe these studies, by the way. They do sound like World Economic Forum, Bill Gates manufactured studies. Like, by the way, studies, obviously, whatever you're looking for, you can find.
So having kids is the ultimate act of sacrifice. It's beautiful, it's wonderful, amazing. And I hope people
By the way, I would agree having kids is the ultimate act of sacrifice. My experience in life is the more I sacrifice towards something, the more satisfied and happy I am. Think about earning a first place trophy by not earning it. You made no sacrifices. It's just like millennial Gen Z situation where, cool, you show up, you're a glob of shit. You get a first place trophy. You feel no satisfaction around that because you made no sacrifice for it. But if you work your butt off, you sacrifice, you go through physical pain and training, you sacrifice your time dedicated to training in this endeavor, and you earn the first place trophy only through the pathway of your sacrifice, how much greater is your satisfaction? I would dare say sacrifice for a worthy purpose equals tremendous satisfaction. Apparently, I see this differently than Tom.
People do it. I think it is the most obvious life path to go down if you want to be fulfilled. But there is another side to that coin, and it's pretty bright and sunny over on my side of the road.
I would say it's sunnier on my side of the road. But let's see what the comments have to say on this video clip on the Iced Coffee Hour Instagram page. These are not supportive of Tom's view. It seems that people without kids often try to justify their decision. Next comment. Absolute bullshit. Having a child has been the best thing my wife and I have ever done and will ever do. Bullshit. Without kids, your life is pointless. Yeah, I agree with the bullshit, but your life isn't necessarily pointless without kids. Next comment. Complete BS. A lot of bullshit in this comment section. Complete BS. Life without kids is empty-ass life. Ian Valier comments, which I know his name. Yeah, he's a professional bodybuilder. Happen to know his name. Not having children is one of the biggest mistakes people can make. Next comment, you'll just die alone. Either your wife will die first and the other will be left to die alone in the hospital surrounded by strangers. That's what you're accepting. Next comment, I think this is BS. Just wondering, I can't find any comments that agree with his perspective. Here's a Viktor Frankl quote. When a man can't find a deep sense of meaning, they distract themselves with pleasure. Whoa, that's actually pretty profound. But this isn't just Tom Bilyeu's perspective. It is, I would dare say, a growing leftist perspective. The child-free movement. If you want to be happy, no kids for you. Children, that's a conservative value, isn't it? Came across this Instagram account. Username childfree millennial. All the content is posted around, asserting child-free is the way to be. And then to degenerate our minds even further, we can move to TikTok. There is a kind of trendy acronym called DINKS that help justify no kids. Almost sounds like we're brainwashed by the extinctionists that hate humans and want us off planet Earth, but I'm sure that's not the case because I don't know that I'm brainwashed. That's part of the brainwashing, idiot! So DINKS means double income, no kids, which implies double income makes us happy, kids would make us unhappy. Cool. Do your best to find happiness in money. Do your best to, ignore the happiness with a kid. Nonetheless, here's someone in the DINK movement.
I am 34 years old and I have been married for 9 years, and my husband and I decided not to have kids because one of our core values is freedom.
Jocko Willink would say discipline equals freedom, not pursuing self-gratifying pleasure equals freedom.
Let me explain. When my husband and I started dating, we both fell in love with how independent we were and how dedicated we were to our careers and our ambition and our purpose and our devotion to our own individual happiness.
Like she's literally putting a facade on her
24
face.
when we were dating, we decided that we were not interested in having kids. But I also knew that I am very young.
More on the DINK life.
We're dinks. We're going to be asked constantly by family, friends, and strangers when we're going to have kids.
We're dinks. We're going to go to Costco and buy all the snacks we want.
We're dinks. We're going to support our friends who have kids, even if we decide to never have any.
We're dinks. We're going to have lots of disposable income to spend on whatever we like.
And money equals happiness, implied according to him. But wait, there's more.
I'm child free, and my favorite quote is, them kids.
Well, that doesn't sound satanic. Them kids. Jesus, that's Kind of like the mantra of Epstein's client list. Now, last year you may have seen a very viral clip from Chelsea Handler, a day in the life of a childless woman. I almost said a day in the life of a childish woman, which is maybe also the case here. So we'll take a look reminiscing about Chelsea Handler's video, which, by the way, I made a rebuttal video. I was doing an appearance on Tucker Carlson's show before Fox fired him, and they had me compile a mockery of her video, The Childless Man, A Day in the Life. Show you that next, but first, let's reminisce about Chelsea Handler glorifying the life of having no kids.
This is a day in the life of a childless woman. I wake up at 6 a.m. I remember that I have no kids to take to school, so I take an edible, masturbate, and go back to sleep. I wake up at 12:30 p.m. and get ready for a busy day of doing whatever the I feel like. I put on my most impractical and stylish shoes since I won't be chasing a child around the grocery store. I go to my fave spot in Paris to grab a croissant. I do a meditation sesh on the plane since I have no screaming kids, allowing me all the time in the world to become enlightened.
Is she enlightened? I don't know.
Weightlessness of my existence has granted me superhuman powers. I teleport myself back home. Then I get ready for a night out with whatever hot guy I met on Raya that morning. I call up a babysitter and tell her that I don't need her since I still don't have kids. Now it's time for a workout, so I hit Mount Everest for a quick climb. I invent a time machine, go back in time, and kill Hitler. Freeze, you bastard! It's amazing what you can do when you have this
That's not how you shoot a gun, by the way.
much free time. And that's a day in the life of a childless woman.
Now, Chelsea Handler, I believe she's considered a comedian, so obviously she's exaggerating, but there's truth in comedy, so my guess is, even though she's exaggerating, that's at some level how she actually feels. But yours truly is also a comedian. So here is my Day in the Life of a Childless Man video, which you can also find on yours truly's Instagram account. This is a day in the life of a childless man. In the morning, I wake up to the alarm of unbearable feelings of glorious loneliness. From that point, I do whatever I want, because not having kids empowers me to stay an immature child myself. With my coffee, I write in my journal to remind me how the world does in fact revolve around me. At noon, I award myself 10 virtue signaling points for not having kids, just like the globalists want. In the afternoon, I treat myself to red light therapy to help strengthen my narcissism at the cellular level. Then I enjoy reading about Marxism and all the benefits of destroying the nuclear family. So good. And before bed, I count my money and think about how it's the true source of happiness. Those idiots with kids are missing out. I would cry myself to sleep, but I'm a man, so I repress my emotions instead. It's amazing how much meaning you can miss out on when you set your life up to make everything about you. And that's the day in the life of a childless man. This is pretty good, actually. It's been a while since I've seen that video. Truth in comedy. What I was expressing and mocking is how I feel. The wisdom throughout the ages is if you make your life about seeking pleasure for your own gratification, you won't find fulfillment. You'll find dopamine hits. You'll find safety, security. But that safety, security that makes you feel protected will soon imprison you. The wisdom also shares, if you make your life about being of service, that is the true source of happiness. And in my life experience, that seems true to me. Before we bring in the cleanup hitter on the topic, Jordan Peterson, to hear a short clip of what he has to say about, you'll have no kids so you can be happy about it. I'll just share this. If someone doesn't want to have kids, they'll probably be a crappy parent and shouldn't have kids. But also there's some people who don't want to have kids, but say something accidentally happens or they're feeling neutral, like, okay, let's go ahead and have kids. But then something beautiful awakens and comes online in their consciousness once the child is born or coming along. So I have seen cases, and for me, when we had my son, conceiving him, I felt like just a little bit right of center on the topic. Yeah, kind of open to it. Lived most of my adult life saying I actually never want to have kids. Then I was like, okay, yeah, kinda. I'm open to it. I'm on board. Then we had our son, and I'm 100% on board with this now. So a lot came online for myself. But when you look at a lot of these TikTokers that we saw, I would probably agree, like, cool, you're living your life in a very self-centered way. You seem very dedicated to that. You probably shouldn't have kids because you probably will be a crappy parent. Now, Jordan Peterson, one of the great thinkers of our time, let's hear what he has to say about the topic with a rather combative TV show host.
Most young women are taught badly that the most important thing that they'll do in their life is their career, and that's simply not true. It's not true for most people, and it's certainly not true for most women.
Feminism would disagree. Degenerate feminism.
Certainly wasn't taught that myself. I feel like I'm doing quite well in my career, but I still have pressures. People who are saying, you know, when are you actually going to succeed properly by having a baby?
Yeah.
I kind of find that slightly offensive. I'm 38.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I've got through my early 30s without almost luckily. When I look at what my friends have to deal with their children, I almost feel a little bit blessed.
See, I think what she's seen with her friends, what they have to deal with, her mind is measuring what she would lose. Her free time, I got to deal with this. But she's not comprehending what she would gain. And she would probably be a crappy mother, so I'm glad she hasn't had kids.
Say to that.
Well, I would say that it starts to get pretty lonesome in life after 45 if you don't have a family. You know, and so it's easy to consider the utility of an intense career, and like you have a very high quality career too. You know, that's something that marks you out from let's say more typical people, and perhaps that's worth more of a sacrifice. But you know, you're going to live till you're 90 in all likelihood, and it's not easy to consider your life across its entire span. And there's something to be said for developing a very close-knit, intimate community around you if you can manage it. You have children and then you have grandchildren, and that, to me, what I've experienced in my life, although I've had a very productive career and a very interesting career, it's definitely been the case for me that my family has been more and more important to me as I've got older, and I don't think that that's an uncommon experience.
I love Jordan Peterson's perspective, primarily because I agree with it, yet it resonates with the best source of truth as I know it. And I can share from my experience. I had a fulfilling life before my son, and now with my son, my life is at least 10x more fulfilling. Has my work suffered? No, it's gotten more powerful because I now feel even more purposeful. Like my work is even more important because I'm not just doing it for myself and like, yeah, other people, cool. But I'm doing it for him. I want to carve a better landscape future for my son. There's nothing more fulfilling for me than caring for my son, whether I'm changing a screaming baby's diaper or chasing him around the yard or tickling him or wrestling him. Here's how satisfying it has been for me to be with my son. I have on 2 occasions turned down rides on President Trump's private plane with him because I wanted to be with my son, because it's that fucking fulfilling. You'll have no kids and be happy about it. Is that true for you or not? What do you think about it? Let me know in the comments below. And I appreciate you, dear freedom lover, watching. I look forward to seeing you next time. But before that, here's a special message. What's up, my friend? I want to tell you a little secret about how I use my all-time favorite product out of the Awaken CBD product line, the CBD oil tincture. Because I'm not someone who likes to leave my health, wellness, and how I feel and function on a daily basis to chance. I like to take control of those things, and the CBD oil helps me do it. Here's how I use it. The first thing I do after I finish my workouts is I reach for my good friend, the Awaken CBD oil tincture, so I can start my rest and recovery process immediately. And then in my nightly routine, about an hour before bedtime, I take it again to help promote rest and relaxation. And then a wild card, during the day, if I'm encountering a lot of stress or anxiety, which is not uncommon for me, I reach for it to help me regain a positive frame of mind and feel a little more relaxed. If, like me, you're on a mission to be a sovereign being who is in control of your health and how you feel on a daily basis, you might enjoy the Awaken CBD oil as well. It's organically grown, it comes in full spectrum and broad spectrum options, and the purity and potency is third-party tested to ensure you are getting the absolute best CBD available. If you'd like to bring the Awaken CBD oil tincture into your daily routine as well, just go to awakencbd.com and you'll also get 10% off your first order. Enjoy, my friend.